What is up, everybody? We are going to get started here momentarily. Say hi in the chat. I'll attempt to pronounce your names, of which maybe 10% I'll be able to do so because we have a global audience. And I'm just well, I'm not going to talk crap about myself about being a dumb American, but, you know, I only know English, you know. Some of these names are just crazy. Hey, y'all. There we go. We're going to get started here momentarily. Going to let people filter in at the beginning here. Hello, Anita. We got that one. Algio, I guess. Yeah, what is up? Mahesh. Mech. E-Lyrics, what is up? Jose. Amiral. Mohan. Amazing World. Okay, I got that one. All right. So yeah, we already got some submissions rocking. For those of you who are new, this is a live UI UX show that I have usually a couple times a month. And by the way, I take a look at your designs, usually UI UX designs. That means like app designs, web designs, and I will review them. Sometimes I'll actually do a design iteration if you submit a Figma prototype. And then we'll do a rating from 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. We get the chat involved here. And yeah, the whole goal is just to help me, for me to help you get better at design. Now, before we begin, I should have had this already ready to rock, but I did not. I want you all to check out DesignCourse.com. If you haven't yet, this is a relatively new course that I released in January of this year. I worked on it for a year and a half, custom platform for you learning UI UX design in an interactive setting. 16 hours of video. We have dozens of what are called interactive user interface tests. You can try them out here. And also we have Mentorship, which is an optional add-on where I will actually look at your design, revise them if need be, and just basically provide feedback. All right, so definitely check this out. Use coupon code UI2022 at checkout in order to get 22% off. And if you live in a country like Philippines or India, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, if you visit the final step of the order form, you may qualify for parity pricing. You can get up to 40% off. So definitely check that out. Alrighty, let's get started. So wait. Today, yeah, wow, we have a lot of submissions already. Let's get ready to rock. All right. We have a portfolio. All right, let's refresh this. I think there was some animation. All right, so, you know, I'm a fan of the animation because it's very quick and subtle. One thing that people screw up a lot is, they discover CSS animations and then they just go all out and things are animating for like 5 seconds. You don't want to do that. You want it to be nice, simple, like that. Something like this works perfectly if you're going to have animation. Home, overview, projects, contact, okay. I like the nav bar, all very solid. Active state for the home, also hover state. All right. Hi, blah, 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 full stack developer. All right, good topography here overall. Pretty solid. Key skills, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. All right. Yeah, so go to overview. Let's click that. All right. I think I would like to see projects being featured somewhere on the homepage, or maybe make that a primary call to action. I'm a strong advocate of the belief that, if you're going to get employed either through, if you're a freelancer and you're looking for clients or an actual employer, that they want to see your work first. That's the most important thing. So going to overview, that could be secondary. Primary should be going to your projects. And these are solid card designs right here. All right, yeah, pretty solid here. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. Let me know what you think this person should get for a rating. By the way, when you have like a simple page like this with not much content, use the CSS grid or Flexbox to center this in this available space. That way you don't have all this white space here at the bottom. So for me, I'm going to give this a rating. It's pretty solid. I have no problem with this. I'm going to give this maybe like a 7.8 or so, almost an 8.0. I think that's pretty fair to start with. All right. Let's go on to the next one. Yeah. Oh no, we got one of these consoles. One of the console emulator portfolios. So you're going to make me type. I don't know if I like that. Oh, wait. This isn't a portfolio. This is I thought it was like one of those interesting takes on portfolios, but this isn't. Yeah, I'll be honest. Okay, so banner displays a banner. Oh, this is a portfolio site. All right, so you need to make it way more obvious rather than just having your name right here that this is an actual portfolio site. Making me type help to, I would give it like a little indicator, like say, type project, for example, type projects to see my projects, so I would do that. So like, what is even happening? App Store, okay, all right, affiliate marketing website. All right, so it's an interesting take, but you have to make it more obvious. As far as the topography and everything's concerned, it definitely feels like an actual terminal. So I give you points for that. I give you points for creativity, but I take some points away for the fact that we just don't really see. You're not really clear. It's not very clear exactly what's happening here. And you could honestly break outside of the mold of a terminal and, maybe just showcase thumbnails or something like that, possibly. But yeah, pretty cool concept. I don't think you're going to bother with a rating for this just because it's, well, let's do a rating. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. What do you all think? I mean, there has to be points taken away because I'm just not sure. I wasn't sure what was happening here exactly. So for me, I'm probably just going to give this a flat 7. I like the creativity, but yeah, let's continue on. Oh, I'm out of fluids. Damn it. All right, next up. Let's translate this because I have no clue what is happening here. All right, so this is a place for like flowers, all right? So one thing, I've talked about this recently, I think in a video from a week or two ago, just a regular YouTube video, check it out. Instead of just slapping on a photograph, like this rectangular photograph or the square photograph, there's a lot of ways, there's a lot of other ways, more creative ways to approach it rather than it just looks like it was just randomly slapped on here. So I want you to check that video out. In fact, if I go to youtube.com, user design course, I'm going to find the actual video in question. Let's see here. Where is it at? Right here. 6 ways to use photographs in your layout. So this video right here is going to show you a bunch of different ways that you can integrate a photograph rather than just having it be completely, just kind of just randomly slapped on. Home product, service, about us, contact. All right, that works. Let's see. Take this whole column, center that vertically so that there's not a bunch of white space here. I would make these icons bigger. So it's a little strange here, like in this section, you just have like little, maybe this is not finished yet, but I don't understand why you have these little circles here. Like usually you would have icons in them. So definitely check that out and fix that. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. What do y'all think? For me personally, I might say, this is going to be like a 6.8, I think. I think that would be fairly accurate. All right, next up. I'm not sure. Hey, I've done this portfolio before. I've done this. Yeah, I remember doing this probably recently. But maybe you updated it, but the problem is I can't remember if you did or not. Yeah, this is actually pretty solid for what it is. Again, I can't remember if you fixed it. or what changes you made, but you know, ultimately it's pretty solid. I really don't have much of a problem with it at all. I would push these down further so it doesn't go behind this. Again, you could do something interesting with that photograph right there as well. Personally, I might put maybe a border around this, a stroke around these, just to make them a little bit more obvious. Outside of that, this is all quite solid. Now, because I already reviewed this, I'm not going to bother with asking everybody and waiting for a rating. But for me, if I were to rate this for what it is, probably like a 7.5 or so. Pretty solid. All right. Next up, here's a Behance landing page. Yeah, if you want to submit, you have to go in the description. So negative space, I took a little break, about a month break from it. I've been busy with DesignCourse.com and all that stuff. So yeah, this is just, I used to be really consistent with it, but hey, you know what? I did it last week and I'm doing it this week as well. All right, so a landing page. Where's the actual landing page? Like to... If this is it right here, looks like it is. Not too much a fan of the topography. You're using, you know, for the logo, there's obviously a sans serif font. Then we have a serif font here in the navigation. Sans serif here. This text should be like quite a bit bigger, and it's also kind of just aligned a little bit strangely. And the call to action right here is lost almost. It's not obvious enough for a primary call to action. A little bit excessive with the borders here. So you have a couple issues. So you have this border right here should be removed. You don't need that at all. And then you have with this form, the form needs a lot of work because you have a placeholder value, your email, or that could be a floating label. I'm not sure what it would be, but it's barely even visible. Like this would fail the WCAG contrast ratio guidelines big time. You have to make that much darker, that text, so people that can actually read it. Second of all, you're mixing and matching your border, your corner radiuses. This one has no corner radius and this one has a bunch of them. You need to make those both the same for consistency. So definitely think about that. I would simplify your type for your navigation and your footer stuff. Just use this font up here just to simplify it. So for what this is, based on this page, I'll probably have to get this like a 6.2 or so. All right. Looks like we have some sort of app here. Not sure if this is prototyped up. We'll give it a shot. And it's not, but we can just go through these. Welcome coder. All right. Pretty decent. I don't have too much of a problem with anything right here. Code streak, explore. I'm not sure if these are supposed to be comments or what. So I can't really review that one too well. Seems simple enough, but unfortunately, yeah, I'm not sure what's happening here. Day 74, day 74. For what it is, it looks like for the most part it's pretty solid. I think this section right here, or this arrow, is a little bit too large and can be probably pushed down to center between these two elements. But yeah, I just don't have the context of like what this stuff is and what exactly this even is. Like you're, I guess, code streak, you know, maybe it's like a personal blog or something of your coding journey or something like that. It just seems like it's unfinished though, for the most part. Alrighty. Not going to bother with a rating just because it seems kind of unfinished in my opinion. Next up, finished version of the testimonial and feature section. All right, so Hansha, how do you pronounce your name? I'm going to call you Sud. Is an actual DesignCourse.com member. And so I think I did rate this one already. I think I gave it a 10 because it was that solid. For this particular design challenge, that's fine within the DesignCourse UI UX curriculum. And so this particular challenge that students take, the instructions are right here. It's actually very simple. I provide them with the top design right here, and they're not allowed to edit it or change it at all. And then their goal is to design a testimonials and a feature section underneath it, trying to keep consistent with the design that's found above. And so this is the feature section right here. And then this is a testimonial section that this person designed. And it's very solid. You know, I can't really find anything wrong with this. And so notice how, you know, instead of just putting slapping on a photograph, a rectangular photograph and calling it a day, this person, you know, added these interesting sort of graphical elements just to make it look interesting and add visual interest into it. This nice little squiggly thing under customers, the big quote right here that's watermarked. I love it. Yeah, topography is good. Alignment is all good. So yeah, 10 for this one. I'm much more willing to award 10s, by the way, for my design course students. But no, there's literally nothing I can find wrong with this. Very, very solid. All right. Although we do a 5-star rating system, but yeah, it still is 5 out of 5. Same thing as 10 out of 10, right? All right. Alrighty, Spotify, listening is everything. Millions of songs and podcasts, no credit card needed. Okay, so this listening is everything is actually quite solid. There's no issues with readability, even though you kind of have like this, it's almost like a pukey brown color. I'm not sure if I like that very much. But the green on top of that, this works because this is a very large type. You can get away with it. But for this type down here, millions of songs and podcasts, it's so small and it just doesn't contrast well. I think you could probably use white or something like that instead, and also get Spotify free a little bit bigger and probably left align it to where everything begins and just put it down here. So it seems to me this is probably just, yeah, this is just like a practice app. So given that this is just a quick, you know, example, I'm not going to bother with a rating here. Thank you very much, Shivendra, for the super chat. But unfortunately, if you read the YouTube description, super chats no longer guarantee an actual review. So hopefully I'm able to get to you anyhow. All right. Next up, I think I did that one already. Birdman. Let's get this opened up. All right, this looks pretty solid, but let me get this enlarged a bit. Oh God, okay. Unfortunately, I can't zoom up anymore because that's what happens. Wait, there we go. All right, Calyptor, or whatever. Home project, blog, let's talk. Pretty decent up there. Grow up your business to find success. Kind of grow up your business. Well, anyway, pretty decent topography over here with the call to action. I like the illustration. Yeah, I like the colors. Pretty solid. Maybe tone down the amount of little graphic design elements right here. I think there's just a little bit too much of these whitish ones, or the, you know, these things, these little triangles. Outside of that, this is pretty solid. Very solid here. I like the cards. Perfect. Great execution. Very nice. This is good. More white space underneath this sub headline right here. So push this whole roadmap down a little bit more. You could probably stand to take 4 or 5 and push them up a little bit just because nothing else is happening here. Yeah, this is all very solid though. This is going to be the highest rated one that we have today. Well, with the exception to the one I gave a 10. For what this is, I'm probably going to give this here 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. 8.8, very solid. Yeah, so like a 9 even. Yeah, very, very solid work. Awesome. Next up is JS Expert. JavaScript Expert. All right. It's not loading. What's happening? It's just a white page. Oh, there it goes. What host are you using? Alrighty. So, oops, you're not there. Reload. What's happening? I don't understand. What is happening? What happens if I hit reload? Yeah, what's going on with your host, man? Unreal. Welcome Anonymous, 0 questions at 11, reverse integer. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do, but let's just pay attention to the design, and let's assume I did. There's too many cards up here. I mean, you have a card here, 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 here. I mean, look at all these cards that we have. We got another one down here. We got another one here. You have to figure out a way to simplify this much more. Maybe this is not meant to look like this, and this is just like you're getting all your components out or something. But yeah, it seems like, you know, I actually like the card design itself against the very light blue background, the white cards and the subtle shadow. The topography looks pretty solid here. The code editor, that all looks good. But yeah, it just doesn't seem like it's like finished, you know, or it's a finished project. All right, not gonna bother with the rating for that one. All right, next up. How long have I been doing this so far? 23 minutes, all right. All right, you're doing a couple things wrong here right off the bat. What is this? All right, so didar.dev. All right, so never put your website address as the headline. All right, that's really the first thing people are going to read. They already know the website address, presumably. You don't use your website address. Use something else that's going to inform the user, you know, kind of about the benefits of whatever this service is or what it is. And then your subheadline should be something that makes a lot more sense than this is Didar's website, this one who have a big brother named Lawa. No, I don't even know what the hell's happening here. Like zero clue what this website's about. So you need to really inform the visitor as much as possible about what's happening. So it looks like this is maybe a portfolio section. And, you know, you would, listen, I don't know what you do. You live in Iraq. I think Iraq's in our parity program. Join DesignCourse.com. It is going to help you way more so. And by the way, huge red flag, a big no-no. This right here, putting your relationship status on your portfolio. No, that's like, so someone's going to look at that and they're like, man, this guy is desperate. Don't do that. All right. So do not do that. Don't do that. Now, let's continue on. This is a developer portfolio I'm working on. Let's open it. Alrighty. Hi, I am Laura Luis, and I'm a web developer and have a 5-year experience developing websites to small business. Okay. All right. In Turkey, they ask you to put your relationship status. That's really weird. Why the hell would they do that? All right. Okay. So I do understand. It seems like this maybe isn't a native English whoever designed this, because I noticed there's some big grammar issues here. But I'm always a fan, like, I know things are different when it comes to alignment and text alignment. If you're from Eastern countries versus the Western countries, typically in the West, you would take this left column and you would put it on the left, and then you would take a picture of this girl right here and put it on the right, or sometimes that's a photograph or illustration, etc. That's one thing, but again, I understand. I'm not sure exactly where this person's from. For the most part, the type here is pretty good. Again, we're working off of a just a JPEG mock-up or a PNG. So my skills. Okay, so that's a ton of skills to be putting down, like kind of in card format. You might want to try to just make that more simple by maybe just making an unordered list for most of those. And then maybe whatever you're really an expert at for the most part, like JavaScript, HTML, CSS, you can really make those the focal point. That way you just don't have like a million cards being repeated. This is solid here. So the card design, I actually like it. Maybe bold up view work. You could put like a little bit of like maybe an arrow icon next to it. Put more white space underneath this subheadline where it says, let me introduce myself to you. Push this section down to the 2-column section. This right here is solid though. Yeah, all solid. I'm a strong advocate. I posted about this on Twitter yesterday, of having an actual form too. So these cards, and the content in them, I would put it in a right column and then put a form on the left where you have a name, email, and then a message so that people can choose to message you through those platforms if they wish, or through the form in your website. It just gives them another option. Those who may not have Messenger, Telegram, maybe they don't want to call you, maybe they don't want to email you, but they'd rather just use their form real quick. Maybe their email client isn't set up on their phone. I know I never use email on my phone, so I'm one of those people. All right, but everything here looks pretty solid, actually. So giving this a rating for what it is, I'd probably give a 7.8, 7.9, 8. Yeah, very close. Nice. Very close to 8. All right. Made some size changes to the portfolio. So this is another portfolio I did a review of recently, I think last time. So I can't remember what was wrong with this. Apparently it was a sizing issue. I think maybe, yeah, like, so this area right here could use a little bit of work, this type. Like this subheadline right there, where it says this is some text inside of a div block. You should just leave that, by the way. Margin top -2 pixels. I put like margin top 10 pixels, or maybe like 8 pixels. That's better. And then this type right here looks to be just a tad bit too large. So font size, 16 pixels. Maybe even go like 14. I think that's a little bit better, just based on the size of the other elements around it. So that's better in my opinion. And then also more line height in these cards, or leading as they call it in topography. So that's the physical white space between the lines of text. So line height, let's see. Oh, you already have line height over there. 18 pixels. That's much better. Now, of course, you're gonna have to adjust your cards, but yeah, that's a lot better for the line height. All right, so giving this a rating for what it is, I'd probably, let me zoom back out. Probably give this one probably like a 7.5, 7.6 or 7 or so. Pretty solid. HemDev. Oh, wait. What time is it? Let me check here. Oh, 30 minutes exactly. All right. So those of you who weren't around at the beginning of this stream, just want to let you all know about DesignCourse.com, where you will learn UI, UX design in an interactive setting taught by me. This was released at the beginning of the year. It's over 16 hours of video. It's actually, 16 hours of video, 38 different interactive user interface tests are going to challenge you and really help you develop an eye for the fundamentals of what it takes to design great looking and functioning websites and apps. And also 17 projects where I challenge you with Figma-based projects, and you're able to download a Figma file. There's instructions on what I want you to design. And then if you join Mentorship, you can actually submit those through the system, and I review each one of your designs based on these challenges. And so this comprehensive approach, where it's not just video, really helps people level up as much as possible. If I show you my stats, we've had 2,658 course users so far. Active mentorship subscriptions, people are dropping off, and new people are constantly joining. 59,000 modules have been watched. So definitely check it out. Use code Stream22 or UI22 is going to give you 22% off at checkout. And if you're in one of the countries like India or whatever, then you can get up to 40% off through parity pricing. Let's get back to it. And by the way, 1 second real quickly, I have to step away because my kids are being loud and the dogs are barking. 1 moment. Awkward silence. Natalie, guys, I'm streaming. Guys, I'm in the middle of the stream. Stop. Natalie, Claire. Stop. I'm in the middle of the stream. You hear me? Natalie. Oh my God. Okay. You know what? You grab my phone. Oh my God, I'm going to kill my children. I'm going to kill my children. Whew. Okay. Now, where were we? Okay, I think we're at this Figma prototype. Yeah, they're riling up the dogs. They know to be quiet. Unbelievable. What do you mean don't hit? Dude, I did not hit my kids. I've never hit my kids once. I've never even spanked them. Unreal. Okay. Next up. Dude, if you keep on saying you never hit my kids, when I say don't kill my kids, you know that's a figure of speech, right? I should remember that we have a foreign audience. They don't understand the nuances. When people in America say, "Oh, I'm going to kill my kids," it's not. They're not literal. I'm not going to literally kill my kids. Unreal. Now that's funny. Feed them to the snake, because I have a huge snake. All right, this is solid. Yeah, for the most part. Let me make an adjustment because we are in Figma. All right. If I missed you, I'll check it out after. This right here, this little text-based watermark, it was too much contrast, so it's competing a little bit too much with what's happening on the left column. So you want to take this, and if you want to keep it there, you need to really decrease the white space there. I mean, not white space, the contrast. Sorry, and maybe reposition it somewhere. But I'll just leave it there, and that way your left column content is going to be a lot better. I'm not too much of a fan of this type though. It's a cool sort of serif or scriptish sort of font, but I feel like parts of it are way too thin, so you actually, it's actually kind of strange. It's kind of hard to read. Like making it semi-bold, like that doesn't even help either because parts of the type don't even adjust to it. So I would find a very similar font, but one that's not so thin in certain areas that makes it difficult to read. Because look how difficult that is to read. Yeah. So find a similar font if possible. It's a very elegant. Good section here with good alignment. Emma Watson. Yeah, so I think if you fix that font, this would be a pretty solid design. Yeah, I'd probably give this, just because of this font, we give it like a 7 or so, but it could easily be better than that. All right, next up. Somebody said I skipped them. I already did. No, I didn't do HemDev. Okay, there we go. Now that's an Unsplash image there. Very famous one. It's very used. All right, so I'm pretty. This is for what this is pretty solid so far. However, the navigation gets lost, so it's kind of hard to read about me, my works, and work together when it's in this kind of a brighter, highly colored area. So what I would do is take, just because there's only 3 of them, about me, my works, and let's work together, move them right here in this left column and make them black. All right. Or you could push this image down, and then that way you can make them black, and there'll just be a white bar behind them. I like this area though. Very solid, simple topography, works quite well. That's called Enter, that font. Yeah, so as much as you can, as possible, don't put your own portfolio as your an example in your portfolio. It's kind of a given. So try to get more projects. I do like the fact that you're using an actual business like Sunnyside Agency in your portfolio, because people want to see real projects, not just like a calculator or a COVID-19 tracker or something like that. So that's solid. Try to get more of these. Even if you don't have clients yet, try to do free work, pro bono work, just anything to try to get real businesses as much as possible. And then try to get testimonials as well. Clients who've worked with you, ask them to give you feedback. Something I don't talk about enough, but people need to do that. Now, another problem is this navigation, which is sticky up here. You need to make this a white bar behind it, because then this issue happens where it gets lost if you have type behind it or near it. All right. This has a lot of potential though. I would easily give this one, like a 7.5 just for what it is. But if you fix those other things, this would easily be like, for what it is, like an 8.5 or so. And the locomotive scroll wasn't too much, so it didn't distract me. It didn't make, the experience of using it too bad. So next up. All right, so big problem here. A couple problems. You only have home, projects, bookmarks, contact. It seems like I talk about this every stream. You only have 4 links, so why are you putting a hamburger menu? It's requiring me here on desktop to click once and then have to click again, 2 clicks, to access something and first even see what the links are, when you could just put them all right here. You have plenty of space. 1, 2, 3, 4, just put them up here. All right, second off, there's just a bunch of empty white space with nothing really happening. All right, so I build things with my mouse and keyboard. See what I've built. This right here, this little orange yellow, or not like yellowish arrow right here, that should be black, because the color contrast doesn't really work well with the color it's sitting on, this little light purple lavender background. So try to add something else here and fix those color issues and the navigation. Feels like a little bit too much is happening with motion. Check out more projects on GitHub, and it's just kind of like an old school marquee element from the late 90s. So a little bit too much movement. And look at all these borders. I'm honestly not too much of a fan of these borders. You know, the new brutalism sort of latest trend is characterized by, you know, thick borders and stuff, but you don't want to overuse them because it's very liney at this point. So there's a way to approach it. I actually did a video on that. So definitely think about that. For what this is, I'm probably going to have to give this like a 6.3 or so for a rating. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. All right, next up is UI UX design course, lorem ipsum, blah, 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 blah. So one thing I really don't like on this hover state, it's when buttons, they're like outlined and they have a strong outline. When I say strong, I mean high contrasting, like this white one, with like a gradient inside. I think it's just too busy. There's a way to use high contrast strokes and stuff. And again, that's the new brutalism approach. But this would right here wouldn't be it. I think you would have to make the stroke probably twice as big or maybe 3 times as thick. And then also have like a high contrast white solid sort of drop shadow if you want to use that particular aesthetic. Otherwise, I would get rid of the stroke altogether. So some of these don't work, I noticed. Like only this one. Oh, this is a Figma prototype. Alrighty. Pretty cool. This must be for like a Lottie animation, possibly. Maybe. One thing I'm not kind of a fan of, it seems like some of the colors are just kind of vague in this background. I would probably reduce the amount of colors, especially like the yellows, which turn into browns and stuff. I would work on the color gradients that you have here. But other than that, there's some good things happening. So I'd probably give this like, almost a 7 or so. Let's continue on. I think that was the one that I just did, but I want to make sure I'm not skipping. Yeah, that was definitely something I already did. All right, so I like that headline. Front-end developer with eyes of a designer. Okay. Simple page. You should have a home button. Yeah, people typically expect to be able to get back to your home page and not just have to click on your logo. Sometimes it's not obvious to some people. Yeah, pretty solid here for the most part for the card designs. I'm not sure about this this right here, this C Live color. I'm not sure if I like that too much, but otherwise I would probably, it seems like, I'm trying to identify your colors. Your primary color seems to be blue for the most part, so maybe use that, possibly. The alignment is a little bit strange here because if we look at the edges, the outer edges, like so the edge of the design here, it's real wide. And then this is coming in a little bit. And then this really comes in. So it feels like, we're starting off here and then slightly in and then all the way in. What I would do is take this contact section, put it in the left column, make it a little bit wider, and then take your secondary forms of contact information like your social media and all that stuff, put it in a second column off to the right, and put your phone number if you wish. I mean, the more ways a person can contact you, the better. You want to make it as easy as possible. But outside of that, this is actually pretty solid. So I'd probably give this easily a 7 out of 10. Somebody said they'd give it a 6. No, alrighty then. All right, so ooh, we have something interesting happening here. Do you see that intro? Let's refresh it. I design usable interfaces with delightful experiences that are user-centered. You know, so on a large resolution like this, you could probably even make this a little bit larger, and especially the sub-headline as well. My resume, you know, I would probably not make it outline like that initially. I would fill it in completely white with my resume being a little bit larger and making it black, just to really stick with your kind of like a monotone, monochromatic sort of approach. Yeah, solid topography, white space, all that here looks pretty good. I would maybe add a little bit more white space above recent work. Seems like some of these cards, like right here, like we're pretty close together. Maybe a little bit more white space. Like it seems like some of these are uneven amount of white space. I think probably because of the descriptions are pushing down some of these areas over here a little bit more so than others. So just try to make everything consistent height within these rows. All right, pretty solid here. I like the like how you're subtly transitioning and kind of hiding the background on scroll. So it's little things like that are cool. So yeah, a rating for this, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, I would probably give something like a 7.8, 7.9, 8. Pretty solid. Next up. Is that the one I just did? No, it's not. Yeah, I actually did buy a new camera. It's a Sony a7S III, which is like, I got it like refurbished for $4,500 along with some other stuff. And I got a nice lens. Yeah, huge upgrade. Love it. All right, so next up. All right, so when you switch to the light mode, not a fan of the active state, like being this color right here, this grayish, kind of clashes with the red behind it. So I'd rethink that a little bit. Let's just go back to dark mode. It's more forgivable here, but I don't think you've changed the color of that right here. So what I would do is make that color. Where's the background? I would make that color lighter like that. DDD, that's the hex code. All right, next up. All right, so I would increase the white space a bit inside of this card, and I don't really like, I'm not even sure if you would use a card background here. So if I hide that, I think that makes it much better by hiding that card. So this is bringing back that kind of like mid-gray. It's a lighter gray, but still pretty dark. And hiding that because you already have a gray over here. And honestly, I would probably make this just full out this state without, you know, changing on hover like that. So I think that's much better, leaving that without that background. This section here is pretty solid. I like it. Good cards. Unnecessary white space. You could put like a call to action to contact you or something. So yeah, this will be easily like a 7.0, 7.1 or 2. All right, how long have we been going here? We are at 50 minutes. We'll do a couple more. Wait, I already did that one. I already looked at that one. Let me go back down here, dang it. Nice hairstyle. Well, thank you. People talk crap about my hair sometimes in YouTube comments. Tell me to get a haircut. And every time that happens, I'm going to add 1 more inch to it. All right. Unbox yourself by attending the best events. So I like this type right here. This is actually pretty solid. Everything is laid out well. Not sure if I like this element here though, because it's a high contrasting element, and anything in the background is kind of taken away from the photographs themselves. So if I go to a new design file, and maybe just remove it, or change it to maybe a different color altogether, that might be a little bit better in my opinion. Kind of like a social proof or a company nav or a little bar. That's fine. This looks fine. Honestly though, like when it comes to these cards, I would take the type and align them right here to where the card photograph above it begins. That's just a small concern. Good design section here. Again, more cards. Yeah, it's all pretty solid. Now for the subscribe button, it almost seems like it might be like a grayed out like state. I might want to change that to a different color altogether. So like, trying to think what I would do. Maybe something like that instead. Yeah. Either way, very solid design. I'd probably give this like an 8.4. Yeah. Nice. All right, next up. Oops. Oh, is that Doogie Howser? Oh, no, it's not. Okay. This is actually pretty solid. All right, so there's no logo, which is interesting, which is okay. Don't always have to have a logo, I suppose. Good doctor picture. Yep, solid. Trusted by Ministry of Health. Ministry of Truth. Yeah, this is all pretty solid. I'd probably move, see how it works, maybe a little bit over to the right, more white space between them. This is pretty solid here. Might want to add slightly more white space to separate these sections out just a tad bit. I would make these sub headlines a little smaller. So if they're size 32, I'd make them maybe like 26 or so, because you need to increase the visual hierarchy between these elements slightly more so. Outside of that, this is actually pretty solid. Good design. Probably, again, I give this easily an 8.0. All right, nice, solid work. Alrighty. So we're gonna do one more. There's some guy pointing a camera at me. My name. It just says my name. All right, so you want to do something more than this. At least have a headline of some sort, maybe with a scroll indicator, advising people what to do. So it seems like this is mostly unfinished because there's no navigation as well. I actually like this section here. But yeah, it's unfinished. I'm not even gonna bother with a rating. Just keep maybe submit it once you have this fully finished, because clearly it's got some lorem ipsum text, and seems like you have a little bit more work to do. All right, everybody. I will conclude now. Definitely check out DesignCourse.com. Join 2,600 other UI UXers, and you learn how to design great looking and great functioning websites and apps. It's over 16 hours of videos. We have a bunch of UI tests, which are these interactive user interface design tests that will help you develop an eye for UI design fundamentals, and 17 projects. So this is really going to challenge you to apply what you learn throughout the course. And there's also mentorship. All right. So Design Mentor, simply you watch a challenge video, you download a Figma file, you design based on that challenge, and then I will review your work. And many times I'll do actual design iterations in Figma, and then I respond to you. So mentorship is an optional add-on. You can add it on anytime after purchasing the course. It's just a monthly fee of like, I think if you use one of the coupon codes, it's like $34 the first month, and it becomes $49 every month thereafter. And typically, how long does it take to complete this course? Like if you, if you're focusing on it most days, like usually 2 to 3 months. So very solid. There's also a private Discord server for all those who have taken the course. So definitely check out that. Use code STREAM22 or UI22. UI 2022 rather, to get 22% off. And I'll see you all very soon. All right, goodbye. Awkward silence. End stream.